She had not even reached her chair. Judge Judy Sheindlin stepped through the side door of the courtroom, and every person in the room rose. The bailiff, the audience, the plaintiff, the court clerk. Everyone except one man. Victor Crane, 44, founder of Crane Core Technologies, net worth reported at $340 million, sat with his arms folded and his eyes on his phone. He did not stand. The room noticed before she did. And when she did notice, she stopped walking. That was the moment everything changed. What do you do when a man worth $340 million walks into a courtroom of all places, and decides that standing up is beneath him? What does it tell you about a person when money has replaced every last instinct for basic human decency? And what happens when that same man is about to face a judge who has spent decades watching people exactly like him believe they can buy their way out of everything, and has never once let them? The bailiff said it the moment he saw it. "Sir," a pause. "Sir, you need to stand." Victor Crane did not look up from his phone. He tapped something, scrolled, tapped again. His attorney, a nervous man in a gray suit named Derek Walsh, leaned over and said something quickly in his ear. Victor tilted his head just slightly, the way a man tilts his head when someone says something he finds mildly irritating rather than important. He still did not stand. Judge Judy had stopped in the middle of the room. She was not at her bench yet. She stood 6 feet from her chair with her robes on and her glasses in her hand, and she watched the man who had not stood up. The courtroom was extremely quiet. Then she walked, not to her bench, but directly to the center of the room, and she stood there with her hands at her sides. "Sir," she said. Victor Crane looked up for the first time. He looked at her the way wealthy men sometimes look at authority they have decided doesn't apply to them, with a kind of tolerant patience, like he was waiting for the situation to correct itself. "I don't stand for anyone," he said. The words came out even, not aggressive. He said it the way you'd state a policy. Judge Judy did not raise her voice. She did not move. "You will stand in this courtroom," she said, "or you will leave it. Those are your only 2 options." Something moved across Victor Crane's face, just briefly. He was a man who had not been given 2 options in a very long time. He was a man who gave options to other people. He looked at his attorney. Derek Walsh looked at his shoes. The silence lasted 4 seconds. Then Victor Crane uncrossed his arms. Slowly. He put his phone face down on the table. And he stood, not quickly, not gladly, but he stood. Judge Judy walked to her bench and sat down. "You may be seated," she said, and there was nothing in her voice that indicated the last 30 seconds had been anything other than routine. But the room knew. Everyone in that room knew exactly what had just happened. Judge Judy opened the case file. "We have before us today the matter of Reyes versus Crane," she said. "The plaintiff, Sophia Reyes, is a freelance graphic designer. She is suing the defendant, Victor Crane, CEO of Crane Core Technologies, for the amount of $47,000 in unpaid design fees." She looked up. "Ms. Reyes, you're the plaintiff?" Sophia Reyes sat at the plaintiff's table with a folder and a laptop. She was 29 years old, small-framed, with the kind of careful posture that comes from spending too many hours hunched over a design tablet. She was wearing a dark blazer over a white shirt that she had clearly ironed twice. She looked like she had been preparing for this day for a long time. "Yes, Your Honor," she said. "And Mr. Crane, you're the defendant." Victor Crane had settled back into his chair. He was wearing a charcoal suit that cost more than Sophia's laptop. He had the kind of tan that doesn't come from weekends. It comes from somewhere with a name. His watch caught the light when he moved. "Unfortunately," he said. Judge Judy looked at him over her glasses. "I beg your pardon?" "I said unfortunately." He gestured vaguely. "I don't typically spend my Tuesdays in small claims court." "No?" Judge Judy said. "Well, you do today." She looked back at the file. "Ms. Reyes, tell me what happened." Sophia opened her folder and took a small breath. "In February of last year," she said, "I was hired by Crane Core Technologies to redesign their complete brand identity, logo, color system, typography, website visual direction, marketing templates, the full package. The contract was for $47,000, payable in 2 installments. I received the first installment of $12,000 when I started. The second installment of $35,000 was due upon delivery and approval. And did you deliver the work? Judge Judy asked. Yes, Your Honor. I delivered the complete brand package in April, on time, within the specifications of the contract. Sophia reached into her folder and held up a document. I have the delivery confirmation email from Cranecore's head of marketing acknowledging receipt of all deliverables. The bailiff brought it to Judge Judy. She read it quickly. Received and confirmed, she said. April 17th. She looked at Crane. Your marketing team confirmed receipt of the work. My marketing team confirms a lot of things without my involvement, Victor said. That's not approval, that's acknowledgement. There's a difference? Judge Judy asked. Of course there's a difference. He said it as if she had asked whether there was a difference between a helicopter and a hummingbird. Judge Judy set the paper down. Ms. Reyes, what happened after you delivered? For about 3 weeks, nothing. I followed up twice by email. Then in mid-May, I got a call from Mr. Crane's office saying the work was unsatisfactory and the second payment would not be made. What was unsatisfactory about it? They didn't specify in the call. They sent an email later saying the designs, and I'm quoting, lacked the premium feel expected of a brand at Cranecore's level. Judge Judy turned to Victor Crane. Mr. Crane, what was wrong with the work? Victor uncrossed his legs and leaned forward slightly, like a man who had been waiting for this question and had prepared a presentation. Your Honor, I run a $340 million technology company. My brand is the face of that company. What Ms. Reyes delivered was, and I want to be diplomatic here. Don't be diplomatic, Judge Judy said. Be specific. A small pause. The designs looked like something you'd get from a $200 freelancer on a template website. The logo lacked sophistication. The color palette was generic. The typography choices were, frankly, amateur. Sophia Reyes pressed her lips together, just for a second. Amateur, Judge Judy repeated. You hired an amateur? I hired someone based on a portfolio that did not accurately represent her capabilities. You hired her after reviewing her portfolio, Judge Judy said flatly. It was not a question. Yes. And her portfolio was impressive enough for you to sign a $47,000 contract. At the time, I believed, Mr. Crane. Judge Judy took off her glasses. You reviewed her work, you approved the contract, you paid the first installment, and now that the work is done, you're saying it's amateur. She put her glasses back on. When exactly did it go from portfolio-worthy to amateur? Victor Crane's jaw tightened just slightly. When I saw the final product in the context of my brand. Judge Judy looked at Sophia. Ms. Reyes, do you have anything else to show me? Sophia opened her laptop. Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to show you Cranecore's current website. Objection, Derek Walsh started. You're not in federal court, Judge Judy said without looking at him. Sit down. She looked at Sophia. Show me. Sophia turned the laptop so the screen faced the bench. The bailiff helped angle it. On the screen was Cranecore Technologies' live website. The logo in the top left corner, a stylized crane wing forming the letter C, was Sophia's design. The color palette, deep navy and burnished gold, was Sophia's palette. The typographic system, the section layouts, the icon style, all of it was exactly what Sophia had delivered in April. This is your current website, Judge Judy said to Victor Crane. It was not a question. Yes. This is the amateur work. A pause. We made modifications. What modifications? Another pause. Refinements. Show me the refinements, Judge Judy said. Victor looked at his attorney. Derek Walsh looked at his notepad. I'd need to have my design team document the specific changes. Your Honor, Sophia said quietly, I have the original files, and I have screenshots of the current site taken this morning. She passed a printed packet to the bailiff. They are identical. The logo is the same. The color values are the same. The font choices are the same. Nothing was changed. Judge Judy received the packet. She held up Sophia's original logo design side by side with a printout of the current Cranecore website. She looked at them for a long moment. Mr. Crane, she said, how long has this website been live? I'd have to check, Ms. Reyes, do you know? Yes, Your Honor. The new brand launched publicly on May 28th. It has been live for 8 months. 8 months, Judge Judy said. She set both papers down. You have been using this woman's design, the design you called amateur, on your company's public-facing website for 8 months. Victor Crane said nothing. 8 months, she said again. The repetition was not accidental. In front of clients, in front of investors, in front of anyone who typed your company name into a search engine. She folded her hands. And you haven't paid for it. Victor leaned forward. Your Honor, with all due respect. Stop, Judge Judy said. Stop right there. She held up one hand. Every time someone says with all due respect in this courtroom, what follows is never respectful. So let's skip that part, and you can just say what you actually mean. The audience made a sound, not quite a laugh, something like the intake of breath before a laugh. Victor Crane recalibrated. What I mean to say is that the question of whether we use the designs is separate from the question of whether the designs met contract specifications. Is it? Judge Judy asked. Legally, yes. Let me tell you something about contract law that you apparently paid a lot of money not to learn, Judge Judy said. When you receive a deliverable, review it, say nothing about defects for 3 weeks, then deploy that deliverable publicly for your company's use for 8 months. That is called acceptance. And acceptance means you owe the money. Derek Walsh was writing something very quickly. We did not formally accept, Victor started. You put it on your website, Judge Judy said. That's about as formal as it gets. She turned back to Sophia. Ms. Reyes, tell me about the communication after the May call. Sophia nodded. After the call telling me the work was unsatisfactory, I sent 3 emails asking for the specific issues in writing so I could address them. I received no response to any of those emails. Then in June, I received a letter from Mr. Crane's attorney saying Crane Corp considered the contract void and the first installment was to be considered a kill fee. A kill fee, Judge Judy said. Yes, of $12,000 on a $47,000 contract. Yes. They wanted to pay you $12,000 and call it done. Yes. Judge Judy looked at Victor Crane. Is that accurate? That was a good faith offer, Victor said. Good faith, Judge Judy repeated. You used her designs for 8 months and offered her $12,000 out of $47,000, and you're calling that good faith. We felt the work warranted. I'm going to ask you something directly, Judge Judy said. And I want you to think before you answer because the answer matters. She looked at him steadily. Did you ever, at any point after receiving Ms. Reyes's work, tell her or anyone at your company that the work was satisfactory? Victor Crane opened his mouth, closed it. I'll need a moment. You'll need a yes or a no, Judge Judy said. The silence was long enough that it answered the question before he did. In informal communications, there may have been, I have those communications, Sophia said. The room turned. She reached into her folder and removed a stapled set of printed emails. These are internal emails from Crane Corp's marketing team, which were forwarded to me by a former Crane Corp employee after I filed this case. They are from the period between April 17th, the delivery date, and May 15th, when I was told the work was unsatisfactory. She passed them to the bailiff. Judge Judy read the first one aloud. April 19th. From Marcus Webb, Director of Marketing, Crane Corp Technologies, to Victor Crane. Subject, Brand Package Review. Victor, just finished reviewing Reyes's full delivery. Honestly, this is better than we expected. The logo especially is going to land really well with the enterprise clients. Color system is clean. I'd say we're good to move forward with implementation. Judge Judy looked up at Victor Crane. Victor was looking at the table. She read the second email, April 22nd, from Victor Crane, to Marcus Webb. Agreed. Let's move forward. Green light on implementation. The room absorbed this quietly. Green light on implementation, Judge Judy said. Your words, April 22nd. She set the emails down. 3 weeks before you told Ms. Reyes the work was unsatisfactory. Victor Crane said nothing. Mr. Crane, Judge Judy said. Did something happen between April 22nd and May 15th that changed your opinion of this work? Victor's attorney leaned toward him and whispered something. Victor listened, then straightened. I'm not going to respond to emails obtained through potentially improper channels. The emails are real, Judge Judy said. Are they? A pause. They appear to be. Then they're in evidence and I don't care how she got them. Judge Judy turned the page. What happened between April 22nd and May 15th? Another pause. Longer this time. Ms. Reyes sent an invoice reminder, Victor said finally. Judge Judy looked at him. She sent you an invoice reminder, she said slowly, for the money you owed her. And after that, the work became unsatisfactory. No answer. She asked to be paid, Judge Judy said, not loudly, just clearly. And the moment she asked to be paid, the quality of her work became a problem. Victor Crane turned to his attorney. His attorney was staring at the notepad. Your Honor, Victor said, and for the first time this morning his voice had lost some of its smoothness. I run a complex organization. Decisions are sometimes… Mr. Crane, Judge Judy's voice was even. I've been in this courtroom for a long time. I've seen a lot of things, and one thing I've seen more times than I'd like is a powerful person doing work for a less powerful person and getting paid on time. And I've seen the reverse, a less powerful person doing work for a powerful person, and the powerful person deciding that the invoice is optional. She paused. The invoice is not optional. The room was quiet for a moment, then the side door opened. A woman walked in. She was in her early 30s, professional, composed. She carried a small folder. She had come in through the witness door, which meant someone had called ahead, which meant this was not accidental. The bailiff leaned toward Judge Judy and said something quietly. Judge Judy looked at the woman. You are? Claire Nakamura, the woman said. I was Mr. Crane's executive assistant for 4 years. I left Crane Corps in July of this year. Victor Crane had gone very still. Ms. Nakamura, Judge Judy said, you're here voluntarily? Yes, Your Honor. I saw this case was listed on the court calendar and I have information I believe is relevant. Sit down, Judge Judy said. Tell me. Claire Nakamura sat at the witness position with the precision of someone who had spent years in rooms where precision mattered. In early May, she began, approximately 2 weeks after Crane Corps received Ms. Reyes's deliverables and Mr. Crane had given internal approval to proceed, I received a direct instruction from Mr. Crane. He asked me to compile a list of any possible grounds for disputing the contract, anything that could be used to justify non-payment or reduced payment. He asked you to find reasons not to pay her, Judge Judy said. Yes, those weren't his exact words, but that was the instruction. What were his exact words? Claire Nakamura opened her folder. I wrote them down at the time because I found the instruction unusual. She read, find me something wrong with what she delivered. There has to be something. I'm not paying $47,000 for a logo. The room was quiet. Judge Judy looked at Victor Crane. He was looking at Claire Nakamura with an expression that was very carefully arranged to look like nothing in particular. Did you find something wrong? Judge Judy asked Claire. No, Claire said. I reviewed the deliverables myself. I couldn't find anything that violated the contract specifications. I told Mr. Crane that. He told me to look harder. And? I looked harder. There was nothing. The work met every specification in the contract. She paused. 2 weeks later, Mr. Crane's attorney sent Ms. Reyes the letter declaring the contract void. Judge Judy set down her pen. She looked at Victor Crane for a long moment, long enough that he shifted just slightly in his chair. Let me make sure I understand what happened, she said. Ms. Reyes designed your brand identity. Your marketing director called it better than expected. You gave green light approval. She sent an invoice. You then instructed your assistant to find reasons to dispute the work. Your assistant found none. You disputed the work anyway, offered a fraction of what you owed, and have been using the designs publicly for 8 months. She paused. Is that an accurate summary? Victor Crane's attorney was writing very rapidly. I would characterize it differently. Victor started. I'm sure you would, Judge Judy said. She looked at Sophia Reyes. Sophia was sitting with her hands folded on the table and her eyes forward. She had not moved dramatically throughout any of this. She had simply sat there, steady, while the evidence built around her like a structure she had spent months constructing one piece at a time. Ms. Reyes, Judge Judy said, how long did this project take you? About 11 weeks, Sophia said. Working full-time, I turned down 2 other projects to take this one because of the contract size. Do you know what those projects would have paid? Combined, approximately $28,000. So your total loss, including unpaid fees and foregone opportunities, is closer to $75,000. I only filed for the contract amount, Sophia said. I didn't want to push it. I just wanted what I was owed. Judge Judy looked at her for a moment. You just wanted what you were owed, she repeated quietly. She turned back to Victor Crane. He had been watching this exchange. His posture had changed over the last hour in ways that were difficult to precisely define, but easy to see. He had come into this room like a man walking through a lobby he owned. He was now sitting in it like a man reading a contract he had not read carefully enough the first time. Mr. Crane, Judge Judy said, is there anything you want to say? Not through your attorney, not with qualifications, anything you want to say. The room waited. Victor Crane looked at Sophia Reyes. Something crossed his face. It was not remorse exactly, not yet, but it was the beginning of something in that direction, the recognition that a thing has gone too far. I should have handled the payment differently, he said. It was quiet and plain and very late. Yes, Judge Judy said, you should have. She looked down at her notes. Mr. Crane, she said, earlier this morning you told me you don't stand for anyone. You said it like it was a principle. She looked up. I've been thinking about that, because in my experience, the people who announce they don't stand for anyone are usually the people most convinced that everyone should stand for them. She paused. You sat in this courtroom this morning and expected to win because you have money, and she doesn't. You expected to walk out of here having paid a fraction of what you owe because that is what you're used to, because it has worked before. She folded her hands. Not today. She picked up her gavel. Judgment for the plaintiff in the full amount of $47,000. Something released in Sophia Reyes. Not loudly, not dramatically. She just exhaled. One long, slow breath, and her shoulders dropped by about half an inch, and she looked at the table for a moment. In addition, Judge Judy continued, I am awarding $3,200 in documented business costs, the filing fees, the evidence compilation, and the attorney consultation Ms. Reyes paid for in preparing this case. She looked at Victor Crane. Total judgment, $50,200. Derek Walsh had stopped writing and was just sitting. Victor Crane looked at the gavel as if seeing it for the first time. Furthermore, Judge Judy said, I am entering into the official record a finding that the defendant engaged in bad faith contract dispute, specifically the documented instruction to manufacture grounds for non-payment after internal approval had been given. That finding will be part of the public record of this proceeding. She looked at Victor. The next time you try this with someone, they'll be able to find it. Victor Crane said nothing. Judge Judy looked at him one last time. One more thing, she said. You walked into this courtroom this morning and you refused to stand. You said you don't stand for anyone. She paused. I want you to understand something. Standing in a courtroom is not about standing for me. It is not about standing for a judge. It is about standing for the idea that there are places and processes that exist specifically so that a person like Ms. Reyes can sit across from a person like you and have the same standing in the room. She looked at the gavel. That idea deserves to be stood for, even by you. She brought the gavel down. The sound was clean and settled and final. The room let out a collective breath. Sophia Reyes sat still for a moment before she reached for her folder and began putting her papers away. Slowly, carefully, the way you pack up something that has been worth carrying. Victor Crane stood. He buttoned his jacket. He said something to Derek Walsh in a voice too low to hear. Walsh nodded and they moved toward the exit. At the door, Crane paused. He turned back to the room, not to Sophia, not to the judge, but to the room itself, as if taking stock of where he was. Then he turned back and left. Derek Walsh followed him, carrying the folder with the emails in it, the ones with Victor's own signature, the green light, the approval, the words that had undone a morning's worth of maneuvering. Claire Nakamura sat for a moment longer at the witness position. Then she stood, picked up her folder, and walked to Sophia's table. She set her hand briefly on Sophia's shoulder. said nothing, just that. And then she walked out. Sophia looked down at her own hands. Then she looked at the door, and then at the window, and then she picked up her laptop and her folder and her bag, and she walked out of the courtroom into a Tuesday afternoon that was the same as it had been 2 hours ago and completely different. She had come in owed $47,000 by a man who didn't think he had to stand up for anyone. She left with $50,200 and a public record that said exactly what he had done. In the weeks that followed, Crane Core Technologies quietly replaced their website's visual identity. The new branding, flat, generic, clearly assembled in a hurry, launched without announcement on a Friday afternoon. Several design blogs noticed the change and commented on the downgrade. One posted a side-by-side comparison. The comments were not kind to the new version. Sophia Reyes took on 2 new projects in November. Both clients paid on time. She did not redesign her own portfolio page until December, partly because she was busy and partly because she wasn't sure what to put at the top. She ended up putting this: work should speak for itself, and when it doesn't get the chance, sometimes a courtroom will.